standpipe from the throat with a mask.
You can get all this back together, Rob?
Yeah. No problem. Okay, now we've re-secured the hoses to the water management system with new zip ties. Those are the hoses that feed the tail and the thrust jet, and they were disconnected, all fixed up, so we can reassemble this. And we'll start with this weight, which just sits right here next to the throat. We've got this piece that is the underside of the gears, and that also houses the jet here, which turns the turbine, which spins the wheels. That comes from this jet. So with those two pieces in place, we can take the carriage assembly here and work it back over the throat and sort of around the thrust jet here. It's a tight fit. And just get it right down over like so. And then we'll replace the 4 screws that hold the chassis to the bottom frame. Now I can reset the tension on the belts, which are very loose now, way too loose, by sliding forward the axle on the front wheel till I get about a little less than that, about a 1/4 inch deflection, and then tighten them down. Get the standpipe back on. There's an O-ring at the bottom here which has a little pinch in it. It's got it lubed up. Don't think it's going to be a problem. We're just going to insert the mast back into the water management system and connect the 3 screws, 1, 2, 3, that hold it in place. And the last thing we're going to do is we got to reinsert the thrust jet on top of the O-ring. Make sure the O-ring is in there. We put a little lubricant on there. You can bring the top back over and get the top back on. Just line it up and it drops right in place. Our final piece. Before I tighten it all the way down, I'm going to point it up at about 11 o'clock in that 11 to 1 range, and then snug up these screws. Another tune-up item that you could do is rotating the tires. If you notice, the tires tend to round on the outside, whereas they're much more square on the inside. You'll find that the front tire tends to do this most, and we've already rotated this tire, I can see, because it's rounded on both sides. So I'll rotate that one to the back, putting our worst tire on the back of the dual side. Final thing I'll check is the wear rings on the tail. Important to keep track of, because when they wear out completely, then your tail starts to develop a hole. So I'd like to move this one from the rear, where it doesn't see much action, and move it up here towards the tail